Yeah. Wait a minute. There we go. Hold on. Let me try that again. Yeah. Father Figures is in the building. I have a couple special guests, and I'm excited about it. Once the applause calm down. I have a couple special guests I'm excited about. We're going to have a great conversation, motherhood, fatherhood, and just talk about journeys, ups and downs, and some motivation I'm sure that people will get. However, it is received and, it's for you. So I'll have everybody introduce themselves, starting with you.
I knew it. I was like, start with the brother first. Okay, you just want me to run it through who I am?
Who you are, and a little bit
how
about
many
your kids.
I've sired, all of that. Okay.
I know you mentored a lot. So.
Yeah, I've done that too. I'm going to lead them out because people eyebrows going to raise. Okay, so I am Pastor Orlando Smith. Church-wise, the name of my church is the Worshiping Experience, located in Chicago Heights. Father-wise, I am the father of 7, 4 girls, 3 boys, from the age of 34 to 19. Actually, my youngest would be 20 on March 20th.
It's like right around the corner.
Yeah, so they're all thriving adults. My pockets don't reflect it. They're definitely thriving adults. Grandfather of 4 girls. I've been trying to pay my sons to give me a boy. It hasn't happened yet, so they're just taking my money. And that's about it as far as me and the fatherhood go.
Cool, yeah. All right. Let's go for
it. My name is Ashley. I am a mother of 2. I have an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl. And then I also am a bonus mom. I'm a stepmom from a previous marriage, and they are 13 and 12.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. Yes. And currently I'm working with Primerica. I'm in financial services, specializing in life insurance and investments.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Angela Brown. I am just turned 36. I am a mother.
Oh, you just had a birthday. Yeah.
All right.
Yesterday, right?
Happy birthday. Let's do it.
Yes, I just had a birthday. I'm a mother of 2. I have a 17-year-old and a 9-year-old. Don't say nothing about that gap. Okay. I'm a football mom. I'm here from Bolingbrook, and I went to school with this lovely gentleman for ever and ever and ever. So we've been knowing each other for a long time.
Okay.
And I'm excited to meet you all as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And Marquise, and I have one. I have a daughter. She's 4. She'll be 5 in April. I'm doing this podcasting. So Father Figures, we started off as a clothing line, and then start doing podcasting, and just trying to make it just something for mothers, for fathers, just to come together and just have moments like this, like what we having right now. With that being said, I want to talk about the parenthood. A lot of people, with social media, right? A lot of times people only see like the highlight moments, like they see the good stuff, like the birthdays, the celebrations, and everything like that. But they don't understand like all that groundwork and everything. They don't see everything that goes like all the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. So just speaking on a little bit of that, like what is some of the things like I'm gonna ask you all this, like what's one of the hardest lessons that you learned, being a mother or being a father, that you had to that came unexpected, and kind of humbled you real quick.
So we got a particular starting order?
Yeah, no, just go for it. Whoever want to tackle that one.
I'm gonna say I became a mom. Well, I got pregnant when I was 17. So, the most humbling thing I think for me and was unexpected is mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Whether anybody else showed up, I had to. And stepping into that at a young age like that. Speaking of which, my son calling me now. Yeah. Stepping into that at a young age, I believe, and I mean, this is my experience, that sometimes you get stunted where you become a mom at. Like that 18-year-old girl was still like trying to grow from, I'm 28, but like really, kind of stopped at 18 worrying about myself and started worrying about my kids. So I didn't know that becoming a mom was gonna make it so hard to know myself out of becoming a mom. Because like you can't unmom me. Like you've been knowing me for a long time.
Yeah.
Like this mom thing, like I got that on lock. But then it was like I didn't know that I wasn't gonna know myself outside of that because I did it so young. So and it wasn't stuff like this around to have like conversations where I'm like, oh, other moms go through this. So that, like I felt like I outshined people in that area, but like life was kind of passing me by after 18.
Do you feel like because of that, like a lot of stuff, you felt like you missed out on, or
Yeah. So I kind of lived backwards. So it was some things that like maybe if I wouldn't have did this at 18, I love my kids. I'm so happy and grateful for my kids, but maybe if I would have went about it a little different, there's some things I might not have even tried to indulge in because I was chasing still the younger me. Like I didn't go to prom because of my son's father. I didn't. While other people were off at college, I'm like, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna come outside like at midnight when my baby sleep, and then my mom's gonna be calling my phone like, you're a mom and you're supposed to be at home, and you expected to like go on grown lady status, but I was still 18. Like I still want to hang out with my friends.
like, it was like a hard balance because like you young at the same time, but you also have to do like motherhood duties and everything.
The
like that.
adulting that I
Yes.
thought you doing grown people stuff and you don't even know what grown people things entail, and that's something. I have a 17-year-old. Like he's about to do what I was doing, pregnant with him though. So he's already surpassed me. So when I think about, I was on him. I think I almost parented from a fearful standpoint. Like I'm trying to tell you, like don't do this, don't do this, and I've apologized to my son. Like I'm apologizing to you from parenting you from my trauma.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I had to, that was the, I guess, most humbling part about it for me.
That's major. And it seems, but you know, I hate to say like, a lot of people like even like when they are a parent, when they become a parent at a young age, they'll like, I hate to say this, but they'll be like, all right, you know, I'm still gonna do me,
Right.
you know, and then that's when like you got a crazy problems. You got everybody watching your kid, and you don't know what's going on with your kid, and you know they start growing up and they acting out and everything because you was never there and they was always missing that. So, but it's what do you think kept you to, all right, I have to do this, like. Regardless of me being the age that I am and me still want to having fun, I still have to be a mother. I still have to show up for my kid at the end of the day.
My mom was the teenage mom. She wasn't having that. I'd make it too easy. You're going to keep doing it. You see my age difference with my kids, right?
Right.
So she didn't make it. She was not that grandmother. She kept my child for me to go to work. She kept him sometimes for me to have a little fun. You know, you can go to postpartum and all type of stuff if you don't have any type of life.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed my son. It too. I didn't feel like, oh, why did I do this? Like I made a conscious decision to become. Once I found I was pregnant, like I'm gonna do this. I didn't always have the best help from his dad, but we figured it out. And it's when you watching somebody, when you realize like I was being rewarded immediately because my son was good. Like I've been around some kids and I'm like, man, like I wonder what's going on with this kid. But my son was with my mom or his other grandmother. I didn't let my son go with everybody, my friend. He never was away from me until he was like 9 months old. I did not feel comfortable because I'm like, this is God gave me this beautiful being. It's my job. Like, so I can't just be like, no, it's your job. No, and now it's your job. Oh, I met him. You cool.
Yeah.
Can you watch my son? Like, no. And it is people like that, but that just wasn't, I didn't come from a family that was like that. So I didn't know to be any other way but the way I was being. And it's credited to my parents as well. They was hard on me, but it worked out in the end because my son is not doing half of what some young men his age are doing at this age. So I had to show up. I don't know anything different than that, honestly.
Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Whoever wants to chime in on that next.
I mean, as a mother,
Go
following
ahead with it.
No,
I'll close it out. Go ahead.
following another mother. I wasn't too young when I had my kids, but who I picked to have my kids with was not expecting to be a single mother. I feel like, there's always this perfect life that we think of, a happy household, but what's a happy household if you're arguing all the time, right? So not having, the father figure in their home was a hard decision to make for me personally. But you just kind of, like you said, you gotta keep going. You gotta make the best life for them. Luckily, I do have a wonderful family. My father has been such a great, influence, and that's who they look up to for a father figure. Their grandpa, their pa. So yeah, it was a hard decision, but I knew, I had to put my faith in God. I had to make a decision, and He made a way for me. He made a way for us. Yeah. And to say my kids are thriving is an understatement. That's awesome. Having me, but also having my village, my family behind me to support me and provide all the love and care that they need. But they're missing that. But they've had great coaches and sports and things like that. So they definitely have had other influences in their life, but.
Yeah, no, and I thank you for sharing that. And Ashley, I want to ask you too, like with, we, like you mentioned about us, how we would see, like we all have this idea of having like the perfect family. Like when we have kids, we expect it to go this way. Like it's supposed to happen like this. So I know oftentimes people will stay in situations or with somebody, even though like they know this person is bad for me. And just to have that picture, that American dream picture. Right. Yeah. So what in you was like, all right, I just, even though I want this, I can't do it.
I had a happy home. I had a happy home growing up. My parents are still married. They've been married over 50 years. Oh, that's awesome. I grew up in the faith.
So you know what that looks like.
I know what it looks like, right. and what I had was not it. And being told from loved ones who look on the outside and tell you, that's baggage. Yeah. You're not going to be able to be where you want to be with your kids with somebody who doesn't have the same vision. So just having, my parents who, set a good example for me, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And I wasn't getting that, so I knew, these are your options.
Got to do what's best for me.
That's best for me and my kids, really. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so as you can see by the gray, I'm the more seasoned person here. So you're going to have to run that question back again.
No problem. I was basically asking what's something hard that you had to deal with being a parent, like something that you had to learn the hard way that kind of like humbled you to kind of, all right, this is the way it is, and this I'm going to have to I'm gonna have to roll with it.
Okay, yeah, I'm with the group now. Okay, so for me, especially being a father of 7, the hardest part for me was to learn that every child is their own individual. Each one is different. So I can't approach this one the same way I approach that one because that's a different person. Yeah. And their whole activity is different. And I used to ask a lot when I was young, why don't you act like your brother? Why are you doing that? Your brother, that's a different one. Yeah. So once I grasped onto, okay, I have to treat him different, I have to talk to this one different, then my parenting changed because of that. So, but in the beginning, no, I was trying to treat them both the same. My 2 oldest sons, because, they were with me in the beginning. So yeah, I was definitely trying to treat them the same, and I couldn't. There was a 19-month difference, almost 2-year difference. But I knew that the younger one, he was more rambunctious. He was into everything. The first one, he was like my golden child. Like, this dude didn't really do much. Yeah. Whatever I told him, he listened. He was like, great. And then he come this other dude.
That's what they say. That
second one, he was just, oh, my goodness. So, and that carried throughout. My last daughter, my last child, like, she is like my nemesis. Like this one here just does everything that I asked her not to do with a smile on her face. And I'm like, wow. And then and her golden line to me is, "But you love me." So no matter what it is she does, and I'm like, "Man, you shouldn't have did it." Yeah, Dad, but you love me. And I'm like, well, none of them do that. It's all this was. So I had to learn. That was the hardest part for me, was learning each one is their own individual and then treating them as such.
And you know what? And what you saying that too? I was wondering, like, because I always propose this question to some of my friends, like, how big of a difference? Because I know that you said that with both of your sons, they were completely different. But how different is the parenting with raising boys and raising girls?
Brother. Oh, brother. Let me tell you. So I've questioned God about this quite often. And I know as a pastor, who you supposed to question God? No, that's not. The Bible says you can ask him questions.
Yeah.
Now, it's how you go to him with the question. It ain't what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah.
So you go to him talking harsh. Now, I wouldn't recommend that at all. But if you go, Father, listen, I'm talking to you. When I asked him, why did you not give me all boys? I don't understand that. Why? You could have kept these girls. I love them.
But it is different.
I love them. But it's a difference. And the reason being is because I tell fathers with daughters this all the time. A father that has a daughter, that is God's joke to man. Because everything that you did to a woman.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Now, your heart that you love this beautiful individual, your princess, is eventually going to grow up and meet that guy either like you or worse than you.
Yeah.
And you got to take all that in the heart. And you got to deal with that. And I found from my older daughters, the more you push against the guy, the more that draws her to him.
Yep.
And the more you try to talk about him, the more she just keep running to this dude. A couple times I even had to pull the dude to the side. Like, bro, you come around here one more time. One more time.
Yeah.
And guess what? He showed up again, but this time he hit her. So then what I'm going to say?
You're
right. I can't say nothing. So I'm fuming. I just go in the house like, I can't believe this. So I would have much rather had boys than girls. And even in the world today, I taught school at Chicago State for 22 years. I taught earlier ed. And then after that, I became a truant officer for the Chicago Public Schools on the west side.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
You got some stories.
Yes. So as a truant officer for the past 12 years, because I just retired, the girls within the last 5 years are 3 times worse than the boys ever were.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. We have more fights from the girls on a regular basis than the boys.
Wow. That's
We can de-escalate the boys a lot easier than the girls. And it's this new change. I don't know where it's coming from, but it's ridiculous.
I can see that. I can see that. We were just talking about this amongst friends, and I'm like, man, it's like these girls out here, women out here moving like grown men. Like what I don't know what the shift out. The masculinity is at an all-time high. Even the way they handle other men. Like, it's girls out here. Some of my nieces have been. Yeah, I got into it with this boy.
Right.
What?
Yes.
Cause see, I don't have any girls, but my nieces and my son are like around the same age. So I'm watching my brother and his children's mother, parents. I don't go through none of that.
Yeah.
What they go through. And I be feeling bad. Like, man. And I remember myself as a teenager. Baby, these girls, especially the ones, and this is just my experience. My biological father kind of skated on me, and I chased. He didn't even raise me. My stepfather, who is now my father, that I took on his last name, that's been my dad. I never went for guys like him. I'm chasing it. That little girl in me was chasing this man that didn't even raise me. I chased him per se to be my dad. Then as I start growing older and I start realizing my trauma and who I was dating, I'm like, hey, he did that to my mom, and he did that to me, and I'm dating this man.
Just
no.
And it just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know you go through mistakes with your daughters and you being a present father, in the end, it's the hope at the end, and it is hope at the end of the tunnel. We eventually find the good parts of you in the man that we usually settle down. So we kiss a lot of frogs. We kiss a lot of frogs along the way.
Yes, it normally comes at 30. So my 30-year-old daughters, it's a whole different relationship. It's oh man, I appreciate what you did. I can see it
Later on.
Yes, I'm mothering now. But my 20s. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Baby, I was a wild girl. My dad was like, I don't even know what's wrong. Like, I raised you, right? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why
Do you all feel like the like how you were, I mean, can I ask, do you feel like how you were versus how like the girls are now, is it like completely different?
Yeah.
Like night and day.
Yeah. We had you came up around me. We had a little fist fight here and there. We going about our business.
Yeah.
Y'all showing these girls, you was showing up at girls' house trying to kill them over whatever. What I'm like,
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, a post.
It's very much different.
Instagram, whatever you put out there, I didn't like it. So now I'm coming after you, and I'm finna tell my girls sitting around me what you said, so they don't like it. So now we all coming after you.
A lot more suicide from bullying is happening than when we, came up. It was girls that didn't like me in high school, but they didn't terrorize me to the point that I didn't want to be here anymore.
It's like this, everything is up a notch, like a couple notches.
Yeah.
And I really feel like it is social media. I feel like that really was the turning point for kids nowadays to take it to the next level, to reach out to more people so that more people who enjoyed it got to do it too.
Correct.
And so how do you because that is the new thing, and it's going to continue to be a new thing, like with social media and people want to see fights, people want to record them, people they're doing challenges like TikTok challenges. I think it was something like they flushing toilets or something and stopping them up, all kind of crazy stuff. So how do you parent? How do you parent because it's completely different from what you're used to. So how do you parent in the new way of parenting with all the new stuff going on? Because it's whatever, the way you grew up is not what can be applied to your kids, because it's a whole new ball game. So how do you adjust to that?
I think since I have younger kids, they're not on social media, but YouTube. YouTube is a huge thing that I feel like they really try to get them at a young age now. Just limiting the screen time. I know it's hard. I know it's a distraction. So you can get a break. But just trying to get back to, what we used to do. Just go outside, go outside, play, keep them in activities, sports. You always have an excuse. Well, we got to do this, we got to do that. So just trying to keep that to a minimum as far as like younger kids and YouTube. I'm not totally against it. But, definitely limiting that time.
Well, I tell my kid, even though my children, especially my older one, although social media was around, we was doing MySpace. Completely different than what they have going on.
Exactly.
But I did also tell him, baby, it's nothing new under the sun. I didn't wake up 36, okay? So if I'm giving you some sound advice on things, just because it's a little different now, I know what I'm talking about. And I told him with the social media, there is this new attitude. It's always it's something better out there. I can see the something better all the time. You married, you can see the something betters on Instagram or here or there. I said that is, people show you their highlights, baby. Some women are dying on the table to get that Instagram look because they can see it.
Right.
Be authentically yourself. Those who love you, those who don't. And I'm sure it's times that my sons ain't always positive or always looking at the right stuff or doing. But for the most part, I have some kids. I be like, God, you know what type of child I was. I don't know why you gave me these kids, but I thank you every single day. Like I thank, because my kids are nothing like what I was. But I do tell my son, especially when it comes to young men who can see what they can see on the internet, son, live real life.
Right.
And always remember, it's people who know you in real life.
Right.
So you can put whatever you want to on the internet. We know you in real life. And somebody going to call your bluff sometimes, like, okay. And I honestly, I keep my kids in the word. It's a word for, you don't always got to use social media. Listen, it's a word for what you're going through. Okay, so take some time away from that. But my kids will scroll that internet all day if I let them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've caught myself being in that way too. And then we live somewhere where right now, who going outside?
Yeah, that's true.
So I got to teach you half the year how to entertain yourself inside. when and then you can go outside and then I could use that. Go outside. Right now we can't send our kids outside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Social media is it be social media.
Yeah, and even with the going outside thing, because it's like, you know, in the summertime, because you driving around the neighborhood and stuff like that, and no kids are outside anymore, like they don't play anymore. Even like the going outside in the wintertime, we used to be excited. We can be like, man, put on some warm clothes and go sledding, like playing the snow and stuff. And kids like, it's too cold outside.
Absolutely.
So they're like, just go in the house and jump on the game.
Coddled more than we were. We was hard bodies. If I missed the bus, I had to walk to school.
Yeah.
My kids don't walk nowhere. I'm not gonna let my little babies don't walk nowhere. Exactly. They don't walk anywhere. My son go to school at the back of my apartment complex. I mean, it's cold. Come on, I'm gonna take you to school. My mom was like, "You missed that bus?
Yeah,
put on some long johns, close that coat up." I remember me and my sister walked from Pinecrest to Jane Addams. Ooh. They was not fooling with us. They said, you missed the bus again?
Wow.
Down here, we like the Doublemint twins. We was matching and everything. Bundled up. We walked all the way to school. Wow. And it was snow and everything. It was terrible. But I bet you ain't missed that bus no more.
Right.
Bet you did.
Those a lot of that stuff is missing, and so it's missing. So it's kind of a hard balance too, because it's like, all right, you still want them to do some of the fun things and stuff that the other kids are doing, but like need to get outside. You need to, like, man, have a life outside of like the social media and the YouTube and everything like that. So it's a crazy balance with doing that, and I don't know, just adjusting with the new times. So, you know, one thing I was proposing too was also I feel like discipline. How do you guys feel about discipline? Because I feel like a lot of times discipline is lacking now. Because you can get in trouble for it.
Agree. A lot of stuff. And children know that.
Versus when we were kids. So I think with that, kids know, like, if I don't have anything to worry about, there's no consequences. Like I'm gonna get a punishment or whatever, or I'll be on timeout or something like that. There's really no fear. Like we knew, like when we were growing up, like there would be a crazy consequence if we decided to do what we weren't supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So how do you feel about like the importance of still having a discipline set for a kid right now? Like, how important is that?
Well, I'll start with this. Anything structural must have solid foundation for it to be built up on. Mm-hmm. The Bible says this: charity starts at home. So with any of this, you have to start with the children from babies, mm-hmm. building on your morals and the things that you want out of them. So as the Bible says, train up the child in the way it should go. If you're training mm-hmm. and you have hands-on work going in, then when they get older, you can correct.
Yeah. Well, they'll lean back on your word. They won't never forget it.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, as far as discipline goes, once again, that great book I read says what? Spare the rod mm-hmm. or spoil the child.
Yep. My
mother says it's like this. It's going to be one crazy person in the family. It's either going to be a crazy parent with a sane child, or it's going to be a crazy child with a sane parent. One or the other.
Yeah.
So I'd rather be that crazy parent with the sane child.
Yeah.
Period. And if you ask all of them, they'll tell you, that dude crazy. Something wrong with him. It is. But I had that coming up. My father stuck with me until I got like 16, and then my stepfather stepped in. And so he used to tell me from 16 to 21, you were in your first stages of manhood. Mm. So from this age to 21, I got to turn you into a man. Mm. So he would tell me things to do. If I wouldn't do it, dude would come in my bedroom at 7 o'clock in the morning, take the bed and flip it over with me in it. Then he would go to my dresser and take his arm and just swipe everything on the floor. And then he'd be like, okay, when you clean all that up, then you can have breakfast. Wow.
Yeah.
And this, until I got it, this was a reoccurring thing. Did he put hands on me? No, but flipping that bed over on me while I was asleep, I mean, come on. And then make me clean up all the cologne and powder and everything that was on the dresser.
Yeah.
What is wrong with crazy? Dude, crazy. But what did that do? That helped me.
Yeah.
So and so as a child, I grew up. I didn't go this way.
Yeah.
My friends went that way, and I'll tell you the truth about it. Because they had such a hand on me, at 55, I can count on my hands how many of my friends from the old neighborhood are still alive and are not in jail. And they talked about me all the time. But it didn't matter. Once I got older and I could look back at what my parents did, the foundation, I could see it versus those parents that did not, that let their kids do whatever. Once they went to jail, who did they call? My parents. How did you do that? How he never been to jail? When they died, who was at the funeral speaking? Me.
Yeah.
So you got to put in that foundation.
No, that's major. That's major.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. My babies. And it's nice to hear the father perspective on that because, as a single mom, it's hard to play both roles,
Definitely.
So punishing, I do it. I have to do it, right? But it's not easy as a mom. It's not easy.
True.
You got that emotional side. You don't wanna be the bad guy all the time. But I am a firm believer. I want my kids to be the best.
Yeah.
You are going to be the respectful ones. You're going to be the ones who get the most out of life. So yeah, I do play both roles, but it's hard. It's not easy. But, like I said, sometimes you just got to be that bad guy, mom or dad. I'm sure it's not easy for dads too, but, it does come,
We're
with
natural.
that stern, that stern voice. But so that's probably where it's a little struggle for me. But yeah, I completely agree. Our faith is our foundation. We do all things right by God.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So that's where we are with the disciplining things. There's so little now too.
And how important do you feel that is needed in that child's life so that they don't steer off?
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I feel like it all starts at home.
Correct.
It starts at home.
Correct.
That's where you need to lay down the law. This is who we are as people. So they grow up and being that example, I'm sure I, made mistakes when I was younger too. And, we all do, but I know who I am and I know where I came from. So I expect the same from them. This is who we are as people and this is what we're going to do. No matter what our friends are doing, what everyone around us are doing, this is what we do in our home.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Forcing that.
You know what I did notice that when I was coming up, I always was like, oh, their parent. My dad was a DuPage County sheriff. When I say that, I couldn't even date nobody 6 months older than me. Okay, like he didn't fool around like that. But everybody else parents, I'm like, see, I want a mom like yours. You can stay outside, and I gotta sneak and this and this. I'll tell my dad like, man, thank you, because if he didn't put in what he put in me.
Correct.
I wouldn't put it in my kids, and my children do. My dad is like their dad. They have active fathers. Yes, I am a single mother, but I'm a 24/7 parent, and they do get their time away from my kids. So when I think about discipline, I'm raising somebody's husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I have to be on my boys.
Yeah.
You will not be outside making a fool of me or yourself. You are a young black man. These people looking for you to do the fool, okay? Thank God that I don't have that with my children. I've never really had the oldest one. I used to jack him up. I never really hit him, but he was so dramatic. I used to be like that. If my mom would act like she was about to whoop me, I would act so crazy so she wouldn't do it. And she got tired of that with me. So I was spared a little bit because I do that hooping and hollering. But I don't have to. I whoop them, and I don't like hitting nobody. I don't like people mad at me, y'all. That is a terrible thing because my kids kind of have figured that out about me.
Okay.
You gonna this and this and this, and then I'm like, about an hour later, I'm itching because I want it to be over. Right. Like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
I'm Pisces.
Pisces. Y'all right next to each other.
I want it to be over. I'm like, oh my God, like he in there mad. My son mad at me. I said, girl, if you don't go on somewhere with that, because you're gonna teach him that, like, if his anger, if he boasts his chest, there's people about it. No, that's not always the case.
Right.
I'm your mama, so I still got to do that thing. I do believe, like you were saying, as a mother, it's hard. Because all we want to do is my baby, but when my baby acting up, it got to be that. And I want my children to know the old school way. Don't disrespect me, but also don't disrespect him. Don't disrespect him.
Right.
Adults are off limits.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
My kids better not be nowhere swearing in front of adults, acting a fool in front of adults. And if you get checked by an adult, and I struggle with this with my oldest a little bit, this is a sensitive part for me. Other adults can tell you what to do. If they're not trying to hurt or harm you, yes, you need to listen. Don't be these high school kids, I feel sorry for these teachers. Y'all, my kid come home and tell me quite a few things.
Oh, yeah.
And they disrespect these people in these institutions.
They do.
Highly.
Yes.
I struggle with him with that. He's not a disrespectful kid, but I know he thinking himself like, hey, don't do too much. He's becoming a man, that testosterone high. He don't want nobody talking to him crazy. If you can't take it, you need to go to the dean office, somewhere where you can calm down, because once you become the child that is disrespectful, that precedes you. Everybody go, JC?
Remember that, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's disrespectful.
Right.
Don't call him here. He's disrespectful. You don't want that attached to your name.
Exactly.
That's what I think about discipline.
Can I ask you ladies, how do you balance like the still letting your voice be heard, still getting that discipline through, but not doing it out of like the emotional part? How do you still?
I have had to apologize several times behind that. I struggle with that. Again, I told my son, sorry for parenting you out of my trauma. I don't want my kids to grow up and be like, I had to heal from my mom. So I am not above apologizing to my child. I'm not slow when it comes to like, I shouldn't have said that like that. I shouldn't have did that like that. But it's a little girl inside of here too. Just know that sometimes she rear her head, or a hurt woman, or I'm frustrated because I want to call your dad. Like, man, dude, come handle him.
Right.
And I can't. Okay. So I don't. That's my honest answer. I'll let you.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus, so I'm very emotional and stubborn and all the things. So I think the biggest thing for me, especially with my son, is speaking through my emotions. Right, I'm feeling this way because. So I know that I'm an emotional person, so I'm addressing my emotions. And like you said, I've had to apologize. I've gotten hot-headed, and I've taken things out on you that I probably shouldn't have. But going back, apologizing, discussing the situation, that open communication. They're kids, but they understand. They understand, and this builds healthy relationships with them going forward. Yeah. So when you ever have a confrontation with somebody, or even an adult, let's talk about it. Let me tell you how I feel, and you tell me how you feel, so we can correct it. Even with, they're so close in age, 2 years apart, talk to each other, practice on each other, tell your sister you don't like it when she does that. Yeah. Or, same thing with your brother, but then that's also reinforcing him to how to treat women as well. You're starting with your sister, and you're starting with myself. This is the
Step
expectation that we're going to be emotional. You got to kind of, hoping he'll learn how to take it.
I think it's really, really cool that you guys mentioned the apologizing thing, because I think it's good for our kids to see that we mess up sometimes, because I think they often think that we do everything right, but they need to see that we mess up sometimes. We don't always get it right, so that way they don't have try to live up to this crazy standard. Like it's important to
false expectation of like no, I mess up too. I get angry, I cry, I'm happy, I get excited, I act silly. I got all the things in there that you have, but I do teach the boys that their voice matters. My oldest, sometimes his mechanism is to shut down, and I do that to people all the time. I'm like, oh, you don't like when people do it to you? I'm quick to.
Right.
And I let you talk and talk and talk, and it's like,
That's
damn, you're not gonna say
Like, shut
anything back,
down.
and then he shut down on me, and I'm like, oh, okay. But again, I'm so focused on the fact that like I'm raised as somebody's husband. I'm like, you're gonna go somewhere to a woman and do this, and then she's gonna be calling my phone like, your son, your son. I'm trying to stop the your son calls. I'm really working hard to stop those those calls because I know they will come.
And you know what? I feel like growing up, that's one thing I say that might have switched up or changed about parenting now is because I feel like when I was younger, if we were feeling some type of way about how our parents treated us or whatever they might have did to us, we couldn't say anything. Like whatever your parent says, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so like now, like I feel like it's more open to, all right, let me hear what you have to say. Let me hear why do you feel that way. Like I feel like it's more open to do now. It's more acceptable to do that versus when you were younger. Like, this is what it is. You better not try to interrupt me. You better not say anything.
And that's where I struggled.
Yeah.
Yeah. With my older crew, it was what I say.
Yeah.
Period. Don't come back, question, none of that.
Yeah.
So raising my girls, it was for a time I was with my wife and then we got divorced. And when we got divorced, I got custody of the kids. And so I had to raise these two girls, a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old by myself, working 2 jobs.
Wow.
So trying to work 2 jobs and then feed into 2 young, emotional girls, and I'm not emotional. Now we got a problem. And I used to tell them all the time, like, you're looking for the mom component. I don't have a mom component.
Yeah.
So, yes, I can't, tears don't, I swear, I tell them all the time, tears do not impress me. If you want to impress me, put a BMW in my driveway and I will be well impressed. But just sitting there batting the eyes and dropping the water is not going to impress me.
Yeah.
But as a man, that's just how I knew how to come at it. Speaking of apologies, later on I had to come back and say, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. There was a part of you that was really yearning for some emotional
And I didn't have it.
connection, and I did not
Yeah.
have it at all. I had fist and fire, and that's all you were getting. So I learned over time, okay, I have to be a little bit more delicate with them because this is going to be somebody's wife. And so I don't want him coming home and she like, hey, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because dad was hard and that's all I know. I don't want that.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult learning that balance of trying to raise 2 girls as a man. That just now my team was great. My mom, my cousin, those from the church, my team was great. So because of the team, they helped me feed into them.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still, as they get older, this is the dynamics of kids, and know this since they're adults now. No matter how much work, no matter how much I put in, no matter how much I did and sacrifice, there was still something missing. And when they got older, they told me, they was like, you wasn't there. And I'm like, wow, I worked 2 jobs. Yeah, we know. Yeah. You couldn't live in Flossmoor if it was. Yeah, we know. Yeah. You went to a great school. Yeah, we know.
You had to put in that.
Yes.
Put in that work.
But you wasn't there. You wasn't there. We were with Granny. We were with Cuz. We were, on the weekends but you wasn't there. And then that does something to you internally.
Yeah.
Because you try to be there.
Yeah.
As a parent, you try all you can to be there. Something's always going to be missing. Always. So you can't beat yourself up about it as a parent.
Yeah, that's the hard.
You gotta absorb that.
Yeah.
You gotta take that in and understand it that one day, that's what I tell them. Guess what? One day you're gonna be a parent.
Yeah.
And then since I wasn't there, you can be there all you want.
Right.
Yeah. However you see being there is,
take it.
You can be
there.
there.
You say that is very much what I do with my kids. Like, the reason we have this openness is because my dad was so strict. all I did was lie because I wanted to do what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so open because I don't want my 17-year-old lying to me.
Right.
I'm like, hey, I don't want either one of my children lying to me, but
Yeah.
especially him. Like right now, I'm parenting at 2 different levels.
Uh-huh.
I'm showing you how to be an adult, but I still need you to be a kid.
Exactly.
Which is why
Yes.
my children never share a bedroom. I don't believe what my 17-year-old is talking about or doing is anything my 9-year-old needs to constantly sit in and be around. I don't believe in that.
Gotcha.
He is in his youth trying to grow into adulthood, and I need my child to stay out of his business. Like I need him to be a good big brother, be somebody for him to look up to. But no, I don't need my youngest trying to be grown.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't like that. But back to what you were saying as far as like something always like missing and you saying something about being open, I'm definitely trying to do nothing like my parents did, but do everything like they did, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot
All
of
that
sense.
good
Yes.
stuff,
Yeah.
yes, that I
Yes.
need that meat and potatoes
Right.
came from my parents.
Yeah.
I don't season my meat that way though. But the core of the meat and potatoes
Correct.
is still what I feed my children.
Correct.
And that's why they looked up so much to my parents and feel how they feel about them, and they play such a pivotal role when it comes to my children's life. But that it's just some things, like you said, that I tell my parents, like, you know, if you weren't like that, we wouldn't have been like this.
Right.
So Dad, you ain't got no hair because you was doing stuff the way you was doing it, and we was lying. And he had 4 teenagers at the same time. I know 3 girls and a boy
Bless his heart.
at the same
Bless his
time. The lies was coming like,
Yeah. I'm
oh,
sure
and
they-
then the twins, and then they had little twin babies.
Wow.
And still supposed to keep it all together for us. So parenting it's the most beautiful, crazy ride I've ever ridden.
There's no book
definitely
to
a roller coaster.
There's no book to it. You just get in there and do what you can do. But as long as you're an active parent,
Yeah.
that's the key. You have to be an active parent. And then I'm going to share this last part, especially for you two. So growing up, I have 11 siblings by my father. But my mother's just me and my younger brother. I was the big brother. And my mother would put us together no matter what. And she would say, it's just the 3 of us.
Yeah.
She would pull it and be like, it's just the 3 of us. So throughout life, it's just the 3 of us. So no matter what happens, how it happens, we need to communicate because it's just the 3 of us.
That's a big saying in
Yeah.
my household because
Yeah.
it's literally
Yeah.
just the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, how can we make this work?
And that, and for me, when it was just me and the 2 girls, I used that. I would pull them and be like, hey, it's just the 3 of us against the world. So anything that's happening in your life, Daddy need to know. I need to know. I can't help you. I can't protect you if I don't know. And I need you to feel so secure that no matter what it is, you bring it to me,
Yeah.
sexual, whatever, I need to know so that we can work it out together because it's the 3 of us.
And letting them be comfortable doing so.
Yes.
Just making it comfortable for your kids to come to you.
Correct.
Because if they don't have somebody to come to, and you want them to come to you as their parent, as their mother, as their father, who else are they gonna go to?
Correct.
They
I'm
gon-
scared of them seeking
Yeah.
advice from the wrong
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
It could be the turning point of their life.
Yeah. And you know, I often hear that, you know, especially me for myself, I can speak for myself. I grew up without a father, and so I was always trying to get some advice or some mentoring from whatever man that I could. So whether it be uncle or uncles, whether it be like my big brother or just hanging out with the older crowd, I always looked for that because I never had that. And most of it I took was bad stuff. So I had to find out the hard way. And I often hear too with girls growing up, when they don't have that, they will seek it in the wrong man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is definitely really important to have that at home.
Yeah.
So-
When you think about yourself with your daughter getting older,
Mhm.
are you like anticipating or worried about like those. You hear us talking about the tough conversations. The make sure I'm creating an open space because right now you are in such a fun stage.
Yeah,
like, it's easy to
it's early. It's early. It's but I've heard stories. Like you can only be the good guy for so long, and then it's like when they start getting older and they can't always get it. Having these fun moments and getting whatever they want, and right now dad's wallet is open for it right now, but it is gonna hit me hard, but I'm thankful for the help that I do have because her mother is very active with her, so she's getting a lot of that stuff, like you spoke on earlier about that emotional stuff, like sometimes my daughter, even though she's young, she'll like have all kind of crazy emotions all over the place, and I'm like, yo, he was just cool. And so I'm like, yo, this girl's only 4 years old. Yes. And so it's a learning experience because I'm like, yo, I've never tapped into that. And so like trying to like, all right, be more patient and have to, be a little softer and just see things from like, a little girl's side, so I'm not always so hard on her because like I was having a conversation the other day about how like sometimes I want my daughter to like I want her to fall like and hurt herself so she can learn and stuff like that, but I also know that I have to be gentle on her too and like, all right, she probably shouldn't be having all those scrapes and cuts on her knees and stuff like that. But I think the man in me, but I think that the man in me wants her to figure things out the hard way and like to have that tough discipline or that
you don't want the world to whoop her. Like that's pretty much what it turns into. Like if I coddle you too much, my son said it. He must have heard it somewhere. I'm sure he was like, Ma, like sometimes you gonna have to let me go out there because if you don't raise me, if you don't raise me to like go out and experience stuff, I'm not gonna know how to live. Mm-hmm. I'm like the world gonna eat me up. Basically, is what he was saying, and that's where the apologies start coming from, parenting from trauma, because I got boys, but I'm like no,
right,
and I'm like dang, like if you don't got no. The girl's gonna look for you to have scrapes on your knees, and I'm trying to stop. Yeah, I mean, he's tough. They play football. They got that part. Mm-hmm. But still, from a mom, like, I still like, okay, like, how can I not have you fall and bust your head, but you got to bust that head.
And it's a crazy balance because, all right, you want to do it this way, but you also know they need this. Like, they need that hard stuff, but you also have to give them some of that soft stuff, too. So it's a crazy balance.
Correct.
It's a crazy balance. And depending on how you grew up too, that all plays a factor in it as well. And so I've only got, because I grew up with a single mother, I only got one side of it. So all this stuff that I'm learning is like completely new. Like my mom, it's 4 of us. Like my mom didn't have time to like take us to the park all the time. And like a lot of that fun stuff that you guys see that I might do with my daughter. Like I didn't do a lot of that stuff when I was younger. My mom had to work. Like she worked like all the time. So it was like, basically, my aunts, my grandmother, and my big brother was like watching us and stuff. Yeah, so it's like this is all new. So like all of that, even the emotional stuff and stuff like that, like I didn't have anybody to talk to. So like I definitely want to make that lane for her so she can be comfortable. But at the same time, it is completely new when it does happen to me. So
I think the great part too is like you are showing us that. Cause what I brought up to you upstairs, like, man, you be doing all this stuff for her, like, it make me want to do it too with my kid. Like, my sons play football, they be outside. Like, you outside, but what does it matter if I'm inside or if you out with your friends, but then I'm doing something different than what you're doing, and I'm not really seeing the moment of you. Like, I had to go back in time because I had to develop some new habits. Mm-hmm. Because as long as my kids were, like, having fun, I didn't care if I was around to see it, I guess, because I was still young and I wanted to rip and run. And then I was like, after I had my second one, I'm like, how much time did I spend away from my oldest?
Right.
Okay.
Spread your time out.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want him to feel like I'm only doing this for him. for my little one, but like I got to get more active. And my sister used to have my little baby all the time because I was like running up behind my son's father. And then one day it just clicked. And she kind of, you got to think your decisions affect more than just you. She was kind of hurt because I got my baby back, and I'm like, no, he got to kind of, okay, it's time. But she got used to spending so much time with him. And my kids, like, I can see that they appreciate the fact that I'm like, hey, let me show up. Like, I thought I was showing up because I was fed and bathed and I had you only with family. But I wasn't doing that, like, this stuff, not to compare it to what you're doing, but I wasn't doing all that stuff. That my sister was able to take my son down to DuPage, like, county little areas and get things for him because she had him so much. That was like, when I found that out, that was just really the wheel turner. I'm like, they think that's this girl. Her baby? Oh, no.
So that's my baby right there. That's my baby.
Like, I'm doing something wrong. But I was so lost in the South. I'm like, baby, that was that 18, 19. I'm getting ready to be 30, and I'm still like, I got to make up for the parties I missed. I got to get outside. I got to get, no, baby, the world was whooping me because I was trying to do a little too much. So I just wish that maybe I had somebody around telling me, like, hey, that's not cool. But everybody just saw, like, oh, she's such a good mom. Like, no, I wasn't being the best mom, and y'all don't know that because that's behind my closed doors.
Right.
That I'm like out. Like, they in my house. See somebody else watching them. Baby, I'm outside. Terrible. But it built character for real. Like, that is something that's what taught me to say sorry. I said sorry internally first. Then I said it outwardly, and I made sure my behaviors show my kids like that I wanted.
Now that's
to
the
be
real
around.
sorry. When your behavior reflects what you're putting out there, so they can see it. I use the term all the time. Love is an action word.
Absolutely,
it's a verb.
Yeah.
Yes. So, but so many of us try to keep it in the noun sense when it's really not. So you can say it, as my father would say, a Negro can make his mouth say anything.
Yeah, literally.
Literally. But when you see the action, then you know what they're saying is real. So same thing with our kids. We can tell them all day, I love you, and hug them and squeeze them. But if they in there making their own grilled cheese, you've laid up watching TV, Netflix, come on, where's the love?
All the time.
Yeah, I think it's so important too, like learning your children's love language.
Yes,
you know, that's huge with me.
Yeah.
Like, that's something I learned. I digged more into having kids. You know, it's one thing to, I love you, be all over them, and then it's like, you know, they really don't feel like they're loved
or they don't
until
like
you
that.
until you make them something or buy them something. You know, I mean, all kids want you to buy them something. But I mean, like, I really think they have a love language, even at a young age. The way that they,
early.
My son always, the little one, he always runs in and be like, Mom, you want to see me? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, you pay attention to that. Like, if I'm like, or if we watching something and he like, you heard that? And that's the sign.
Trying to get your
phone
attention.
down.
Right.
Want your attention.
The oldest is like, I don't know, now he just come in and like, do like this. And like, he just always want to dap up all the time. I don't know
Just to
why
get your
that's the
attention.
thing now.
Yes.
You know, I'm just, because again, I parent at two different levels. So I'm like, he likes, as long as I show up, I don't leave the stands empty for him. That's both of them. And I pay attention. It's most of the time it's just like, pay attention to what I do, even if it's small. Man, Mom, did you see how, I'm like, I did. Because I'm actually, I did. But sometimes the little one will catch me like, well, when did I say that?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I didn't really do that.
Right.
I was pranking you. That's I'm like, but you are right about the love language thing, because they don't all like the same stuff, and we will show up. Sometimes we just show up the way our parents showed up, and it's like, I don't need you to show up like that for me. I need this or that.
Yeah, I'm loving you the way that I want to be loved. Yeah. It's different.
Yeah. And you know, can I ask you guys, what is something that you guys like? Because we see it more now than ever. A lot of mothers are raising their kids on their own, right? And you know, it happens too. Some fathers are doing it on their own too. But for the parents that are doing it on their own, what is like some motivation that you guys can give them so that they, because you know, depression is a major thing, and you know, people are really like have no time for themselves, and like they're losing, they don't know what to do, and like, you know, suicide's at an all-time high. What's something that you can, some motivation that you can give them to, you know, kind of stick it in there for their kids?
You gonna go?
I can.
I heard
That's an impactful question.
Yeah.
First of all, because this is, as we talked about, being a good steward, because this is a gift that God gave you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has their own personal individual. So what I mean by that is, my kids, he didn't duplicate them and give them to you.
Mm-hmm.
He gave them strictly to me.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, then I should want from the start to do everything I can to help mold this young piece of clay into an individual.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, I need to pour all I can into it, period. Now, what happens is we start young sometimes, and some of us can't separate that selfishness. So I still want to be me and do me, but now I have a you. And I don't know how to cater to a you because I'm still trying to be me and do me.
Yeah.
So with that, that's where your elders should come in. Like there was no way I could have raised my son. I'd had my first child at 21. So technically, I was an adult according to the books. I could go buy liquor. So yes, so I was an adult. But I'm a fresh adult with a fresh baby that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
So what am I doing here? My mother, my grandmother, and all of that team was like, no, you don't do that. No, you do this. Like I remember one time my son had a horrible diaper rash. I couldn't fix this thing to save my life. And I kept trying all these A&D ointments like I'm putting
all the creams and
I'm
everything.
putting everything on this kid. And I'm like, what is the problem? The problem was the pamper.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I was using Loves where I went from Huggies because they were too expensive.
Yeah.
And it was frying this kid's growing. But I didn't know. So every time I'd oint him up, slap that pamper on there, and it was getting worse. And it took my father and my mother one day was like, whoa, what is, my mother went to change him and was like, what is this? I was like, I can't get rid of it. To me, I was so nonchalant. I can't get rid of it. And like, he needs to go to the doctor. Like, he's in bad shape. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Now, what if I didn't have her there
Right.
Yeah.
to
So
see him to do?
yeah.
I'm still trying to correct it, and I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So everybody should have that support team
Yeah.
behind them to help them do it. So, and the sad part is over times it has changed.
Yeah.
We have grandmothers now that's 32 years old. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's insane.
A grandmama, that's crazy. 41, she got 2 grandkids. That's crazy. And I see it all the time because I see 14, 15-year-olds having kids. That's still high school, having babies.
Yeah.
Crazy work. It wouldn't have happened in my house. Why? Because of the foundation. So.
Yeah. You want to go?
Yeah, sure. That's like you said, that's a hard question because I think everybody has their own motives, what they find in themselves that keeps them going just on a daily basis. But, going with that, these are God's children. They're God's children that he sent to you personally
Yes.
to mold how he knew. God knows how you are, and that he wants more of you, more of that foundation. So yeah, definitely that was for me. These are not my children. They're not mine. They were sent to me. I was blessed with them. So I'm going to do everything that I can do to protect them here with their life on earth. So that's my motivation. But yeah, like I said, I think everybody has their why, right? Why do they do the things that they do? And I feel like if you look at your children in that way, that, they're your responsibility. They were given to you as a gift. There's people out there who struggle,
Yeah,
who
or
can't
don't.
have children,
Yeah.
or don't have children,
Yes.
and you were blessed enough to have I have 2.
Mm-hmm.
I have 4. I was blessed enough. Even having the stepkids, they were given to me. They were
Yeah.
put in my life for a
Exactly.
reason. So I take that very, very seriously too. I show up for them. Me and their dad aren't together, but I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm there, and I continue to be there. Why? Because God chose me to take them on too. So as my kids' siblings, we all have that love for each other. So I just feel like that's important. Just really realizing that they're a gift.
Yeah.
You can help them and mold them how they need to be, but you need to do whatever it takes to make sure that
finding your why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
That was a good point. I think that to bounce off of that, the why is foundational, literally. Like, I think the best way to balance all of this is if you struggle, tell somebody.
Yeah.
You got this made in your head, like, I gotta be perfect at this. I gotta.
Right.
No, you don't.
Right.
We expect you to not off your kids or anything. And if you have something going on, find a trusted source. Like, I'm struggling with this. Especially, all parents can struggle. Women are made up different than men.
Right.
We can develop postpartum, all the things that can make. Some women literally do not attach immediately to. You don't know your baby.
Mm-hmm.
It comes out. Even though it was in the womb, like, you really don't know. I know that I housed you,
Right.
but I don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't get an immediate connection. I thank God that I did, but some women struggle with that.
Right.
Remove the false narrative that you have to have it all figured out.
Mm-hmm.
That will give you balance. And once you do find a routine for you and your child, don't forget about you. I don't care if it's an extra 10 minutes to have a coffee before you got to wake up your child. Read your word, whatever it is, because like I said in the beginning, you can't, calling me a bad mom would just be like crazy work. But outside of that, then what? We sometimes forget the then
Right.
what.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
that's what causes the trickle effect of,
You do.
I don't have the balance, and I'm not even doing my hair, or, I don't even get dressed anymore. I had gained weight and I didn't even know, because I'm always in leggings. I got some jeans. Y'all don't know. This is big work for me. People that know me to see me in some jeans, my friends,
Right.
the first time they saw me, they're like, you got jeans on? Yes, I do. Isn't that crazy? Because I just showed up a certain way. It kind of presented like I didn't care. And I guess it presented right, because I really didn't. As long as my hair went all over my head,
Right.
I'm good.
I'm good. No, you're not good. Take a minute, take a shower, get your clothes on, go. Stop going to the grocery store looking like somebody's baby mama. And then you'll teach your kids, they'll care about their grooming and how, it'll all full circle.
True.
Full circle. You're coming back around. There's resources and everything else if you can't find a balance. If you are struggling with something, stop suffering in silence. I swear the world will be a different place.
Yeah.
It's kids out here literally stealing from people because they don't have something at home, because somebody's suffering in silence. Like a
Say
lot of
something.
stuff.
Yeah.
Teach your kids to say something.
Right.
It's kids really going through stuff and doing stuff to other people's kids because they going through something. Why would you take my son's shoes? Because your mom can't buy you none, or whatever. If you struggling at home, teach your kids, hey, like, I don't know what's going on at home, because they don't understand. They just see this one got it and I don't.
Right.
Stuff should be implemented for everybody to just help everybody be a good person in society. If you don't, I can't tell you to be faith-based, because some people don't believe in that.
Correct.
That's where my strength come from. And seem like the people I sit across from, that's where we get our strength from. We know to look to the mountain top where our help come
Right.
from.
Exactly.
Not everybody know that. So I think the way we can help each other, like doing stuff like we're doing right now, is to sometimes you really remember, sometimes you're the only God that people see.
That's true.
So move like you know that.
Carry yourself somewhere.
Yeah.
One thing I think is missing a lot with mothers and fathers often is, we try to see about our kids so much and try to make sure that they're straight that we forget about us. And so you miss out on a lot of that self-love and like doing things like going to get a haircut, which feels amazing to us, or going to get your nails done or whatever, just, taking yourself to movies, whatever it may be, getting yourself a good meal.
You don't miss out on none of that. You have mastered self-love. I love that for you. I love that for you.
But but you know what? I think it's really important though that we incorporate that, because a lot of times we don't have that, and it's literally like driving us crazy. So, you know, how important do you feel it is to find time for yourself, so that, because if you working on yourself, you have that self-love, you building that happiness within self, then you're able to give it to your child better. Like, they can see the happiness in you, and you're able to move around better, you're able to parent better, you're able to be just overall better. So how important is it to you that you find time for yourself, and why do you feel that it's necessary that you do that for yourself?
It's majorly important. You hit all the key points of why it was important. I think I can resonate with what was said earlier about the working the 2 jobs and you never home. I prayed that off myself last year. I was in basically a one-sided relationship. I worked like crazy, and I was like so irritable by the time I came home, but I felt like I had to meet my children's needs, so I wasn't doing very much anything for myself outside of showing up. Even this was my self-time, showing up to their games. And I'm like, that's my social hour. That's what I get away. And then other than that, I'm at work. So I prayed about it because I didn't know what else to do. I'm like, well, I still got to pay the bills. I went down. I went down to one job. I didn't really like that one. So I still wasn't showing up. I'm like, I'm still bringing like irritability home, and I know my kids can feel that. And in the midst of that, my mom passed away. So I'm trying to grieve, raise my kids. Yeah, and so you know when no self-love going on around it. All I can think about is the love that's gone now. You asking me to parent without my mom? Are you crazy? Unexpectedly? I'm only 36. I can't do this without her. God, why would you do this to me and my kids? Like my kids need me and my mom. But that, I found some type of peace in that now, and I do show up for me. Even coming to do this is nothing I would have did. And I was so excited to tell my kids about, like, you're going to be able to listen to me, you're going to be able to see me.
Right.
And come and get some advice from somebody that, like you, that I do feel like you find a very good balance with your daughter and self. I kind of struggle with that. So I wanted to be around and hear some people give some advice on how to do that type of thing. Because now showing up, I take time for myself for the gym. Found a job where I can take time for my kids. I'm about to pursue something. Y'all be looking out for this business venture I'll be putting out too.
Yes.
Because I realized that I can only love them as much as I love me. Whether I try to dress it up, you can't. If you put poop in front of somebody and spray it with some Febreze, it's still poop. So that's the best way that I can say. I don't care how you dress it up, and I'm not willing to put poop in front of my kids and tell them to accept that and be like, because this is all I have for you. I made it smell good. No. So I think it is very important. Your kids can tell whether you think they can or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when it comes to putting yourself first as a parent, you feel selfish, right? So fighting the selfishness and seeing it as a necessity is really the biggest battle. The biggest battle. Same single mom, have to work. I didn't want to. I'm the mom who wanted to be there for everything. Amen. If I was not there, I was upset. Yeah, I was so upset, so distraught, because that's how important my kids are to me. But you gotta, I hate to go back to 2020. We all know that was a horrible year, but that was also the year that, I had to become a single mom. I had to do it on my own, on top of, a pandemic. It's difficult to put yourself first, but it is a necessity. And like you said, you just kind of find that fuel later on that, I'm losing myself. Who am I? I'm not just a mom. Yeah. I got to be something more than that. So finding yourself, and for me, it was entrepreneurship. It's new for me, but it's something that I was willing to interrupt my entire life to rescue myself
Yeah.
and make a life that I wanted. You know, I wanted to be there for my kids, and I wanted a job where I could set my own salary, make my own hours, so that I could have that mom and job life without working 2-3 jobs and missing everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
That's tough.
That's not
Right.
the way that it's supposed to be. And for some people, they do have a great career and you know, parent life, and that's great. But for me, it was the entrepreneurship and starting my financial business that allowed me to make the money that I make on the time that I had and be there for my kids.
You know what? And speaking about that too, about like working the multiple jobs too. I know after me and my child's mother, you know, we in our separate ways, and I'm like, everything that I was used to, like that, you know, not only that partner, but that home with being able to wake up and see my daughter all the time too. I took that hard, you know what I'm saying, when we broke up, and so I consumed myself with work, like this type of stuff. I was not even thinking about doing. I was like, all right, you know, I gotta figure things out. Gotta give me another place. I have to, you know, I was working 2 jobs, and I'm like, yo, I'm always tired, and I still have my daughter the days that I have her, and so like I'm giving her half though, because I'm working. I work like maybe like a closing shift, and then I would get off and then go to my other job and work till like 7 in the morning. And then when I get off, I'm at home. I'm so tired. I might get a couple hours of sleep. Got to pick up my daughter, and then I'm like giving her half of my energy because I'm so tired. And I'm like, I did it for so long, and I'm like, yo, that's not how I want. I shouldn't be giving her half of me. You know what I'm saying?
There's got to be another way.
Yeah, it's got to be another way. And so, you know, prayed about it, and you know, it worked out so where I had to make a sacrifice in order to financially, but I spend time with my daughter now, and you know, and I love it. So
Yeah. That's good.
oh, sorry.
man,
Go ahead. You gotta close it out. My bad.
You reel that in, just absorb all of that. It's all good. So I found in parenting, there's going to always be a constant battle between why and when.
Mm-hmm.
You're always trying to figure out, why am I in this position? Why don't I do for myself? Why? And then eventually, you know, when it's going to happen. It's got to happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was easy. I set times and goals.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that this 10-year-old and this 7-year-old needed me, period. So financially, they needed me. The time that I could put in, they needed me. So there was no time for me because I knew they needed. So I knew sacrifice had to happen. Yeah. But now I knew that eventually 10's going to turn to 14, 15, and the need is not as great.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
7 is going to turn to 14, 15. The need is not as great. So I just need to hold on until they get here. That's going to be my win. Yeah. So this is why I'm not looking out for me. So I didn't date. I really didn't go out, and why? I fed into them. I poured into them all that I could. And then once they got to that point, okay, now it's time
it's
for
my
me.
time.
Yeah. Now it's time for me.
It's my time.
Yeah.
So now I did it limitedly because I still had to get them to adulthood, to 18. That was the goal. And then once they turned 18, that was it. That was it. My daughter told me last night, she's 22. She was like, left home and was like, hey, Dad, I finally made it where I'm at. I said, that's good. She was like, I was thinking, why don't I just share my location with you? I said, no, thank you. She was like, what? You don't want my location? I said, no, I don't. I just want to text when you get there. Just text me and let me know you're safe. If you forget when you wake up or whatever, send me the text.
Look, I'm the opposite. Give it here
Right.
and give it
Well,
now.
see,
I got
you-
everybody local. I got my siblings, my kids, everybody.
Yes, from
And
a
you gonna
mom,
be 50,
I
and I'm
see
on it.
that. From the emotional component, I see that.
Girl, I can't
As
breathe.
a
When
man,
it's
I'm
loaded, I'm like,
I'm done.
yeah,
Did you make it to
Randomly,
school?
randomly.
you gonna get there. As a man, I'm like, nah, I don't need all that. So then she was like, well, you can share your location. See, that's where the problem is. No, I don't want you knowing where I'm at and what I'm doing. So I don't even want to know yours. You're
Baby,
an adult.
I'm about
Adult.
to buy my dad an iPhone for his birthday because I need to know where he at.
Where are you?
I ain't having it.
No, I
See?
need to know.
See that? I'm not having it. But anyway, I waited to the stages for me.
Yeah.
And that way that they got all of the nourishment that they could get out of me and then go from there. That way I can feel good about them being an adult.
Like uninterrupted nourishment. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Now, I still did the haircuts and stuff like that, but certain things that I knew that if I got involved in a relationship, it was going to distract what they needed. Because I'm trying to feed the relationship. I'm trying to take care of them. I'm trying to do church. I'm then two jobs.
Too
It was
much
a
going
lot.
on.
It was too much. Too much. So, no, I just laid low.
Yeah.
And then when it was time, I'm like, okay, now I'm out in these streets. I'm out in the streets. Just so y'all know, Smitty's out in the streets.
Take a turn on the pod.
Right, exactly. That's going to be his next one.
Next
Dance
topic.
finding girls.
While in the street.
Yes, out in the streets.
But yeah, it is important. It is important though to whenever you find that time, you have to find that time for yourself. You can't, because like some people will wait, like, man, they'll wait, like, so they'll wait till they 18 until they start living, you know what I'm saying, and
Right.
until they do something for themselves. But it's major to have that me time whenever you can squeeze it out, whenever you can find it. So you don't drive yourself crazy, because parenting 24/7 and then working 24/7, you just like, yo, it's enough is enough.
That when you what you said regarding entrepreneurship, like I felt that because I realized that, like, when I was working from home, but I was still working, I still had time to like do some stuff at home. I'm like, man, I'm giving my best hours of my day to these people.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Then
Building
when I get home-
somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
And then I don't even know that I looked at it from that standpoint. I'm like, man, I bet you her dinner made, like the CEO, her dinner made already. And okay, so I'm giving like the most out of myself. I realized that I like to clean in the morning, but I got to be on this computer.
Right.
I like to do this or that, or get the laundry done. Or I would like my dinner done by 3 or 4 o'clock. And if I'm traveling from the job and I'm getting here at 6, I'm like, oh yeah, this can't be life, man.
Yeah.
I'm steady putting stuff in the air fryer, just like process stuff on top of that, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna make pot roast. No, I'm not. I didn't get home. I don't feel like it. Chicken nuggets and fries. I'm not my mom taught me how to cook. Like I just needed more time, freedom.
Right.
Yes.
He just gave us a little sign.
Oh, okay. Okay, got you. Oh, they
Yeah.
closing soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that too, things like that, like the air fryer is dangerous, man. When that thing came out, because it made us a little lazy, but regardless, at the end of the day, I just want to end this off on self-love too, finding that for yourself, even outside of when the kids are grown, because some people, you even outside of kids, you'll work so much, and then you give your job so much of you, and then when you get off work, you don't even want to do nothing. You just want to do the same thing over and over again, and you don't do nothing for yourself. Like, you just just sticking to the script of life, and it's more out there for you, and you can enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Have the life that God has for you. To enjoy. So, I just want to end that off on the self-love. So, anybody want to say anything? I definitely want to thank you all for coming. This was major.
Yeah.
And I hope that whoever's listening, take something from this, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, might need a little inspiration or motivation. And I hope this is right on time for you.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me.
Yes,
and
thank
thanks,
you.
and thanks to you all for sharing the platform with me. And I hope we can do this again.
Yeah. All right. Father Figures out.